HieTshwaukhwen uraba haba mina enhle kune bantu bahle namhlanje uxola kwakhona goeiemiddag my mooi mense vandag dis Abdul weer vandag greetings to you people. My purpose of this video again, it's a part 2 of the video I last made of your HieTshwaukhwen, or people who are known as your Chawe in the Eastern Cape. I have exemplified in my previous video that these people are found in Zimbabwe. They are also found in Botswana entirely, from the east of Botswana as well, from the west of Botswana. And I have exclaimed, I've spoken adamantly, I've expressed my feelings as to these people, where predominantly where they are found in Botswana. And they are not a clan, they are a big tribe that comprises all clans together. Not that I'm saying people should agree with me in what sentiments are. My own capacity of my intellect that I'm lecturing about or giving in this instance. I know a lot of people, there would be more cognitive dissonance towards this matter, and they do not want to agree or have any chance to agree with me in this instance. So it gives me the opportunity as well to express facts and to teach people the truth, because a lot of people don't have any absolute truth about this in this instance. So it is my opportunity as well to relate, particularly where and how and when did it happen in this regard. Right, my primary purpose in this is to give a formal history about who HieTshwaukhwen are, and to school people primarily, and try to obliterate history that has gave false narrative, false impression about our society, about our people, where they are originating from, and so forth and so forth. I've stated previously from my previous video that HieTshwaukhwen, they are a tribe, they're a big tribe, and I want to give this philosophy so that people should stick to this intellect. I know some people will try to obliterate or will try to rubbish this from this state of conscience, because not everyone will agree to what you're saying. But I have sources, I can state, can give reference, and this is from oral sources. I'm not stating stuff from books has been written. I can use books, but books don't reference properly, because even people that take sources, they don't really reach out on people in accordance to that as well. HieTshwaukhwen are the people whom are your salt pan tree people. It is your tree. It is tree. We say hey in Kwe, hey, but it's tree. That is why when you codify that tree, it becomes T in Kwe. It is T. That is why even in your Grebe or Grebe, your Grebe Kobaku, your Grebe dialects, it is known as what? It is known as your T. T. They say T. It's T actually. It's codified. Right? This is how it is. The dental click, it codifies terms into to ch, or to tsa, or to yeah. Right? That's how it is, basically. So my narrative in this as well, this is how it is. So your salt pan tree people, who are known as your HieTshwaukhwen, they are known as your Chawe. When you go to Zimbabwe, they are your Chwaukhwen. That's the same people. They are your Shuakwe or Chwaukhwen. If you reduce it, it's Shuakwe, Chwaukhwen. Amongst the Mbondos, these same people are known as your people who are your HieTshwaukhwen. And I say HieTshwaukhwen, it is HieTshwaukhwen, Chub or Chub. It is HieTshwaukhwen, meaning Khwe, salt people. Do you understand? This is how it is. And the Tshawe and HieTshwaukhwen people are one and the same. Alright. We said these people are found in Zimbabwe, Botswana, in Buteti, because Buteti is designated under a tribe that is known as Tetikwe, meaning dark people as well, in Kweta. Another example as well, we have your places such as your Purue, your Nata, Francistown, even going to Kalahari as well. You find the same people. They're a big tribe. Now I want to go to the closer historiography as well, where it taught a lot information that was misleading, because missionary information does not teach you the truth. It teaches you information that actually imprisons society to think this is how it happened, and it more or less it gives an interpretation and a narrative as well that is of you romanticizing our history. It characterized tribes as people, whereas they were not people before. Do you understand? There was no person who was called Chawe or HieTshwaukhwen. There was no person who was called by that name. But when you read into that history, they make Chawe as if Chawe was a person, Tsikha was a person, or Tsikha was a person, or Jwacha was a person. They give history because these people don't have information about tribes, because this very same information that was in store was information that comes from people, the generals that murdered society and dispersed society apart, that had the correct data information about the historical background. And then they speak of Nkosi Yamntu, they speak of Malangana, they speak of Xhosa, they speak of Chawe, they speak of Jwacha and Tsikha. Now, I want to start from that first phase, and I want to give a narrative from impacting from there. When you say Nkosi Yamntu, Nkosi, the term Nkosi, it is a term that is derived from the click derived term. It's Khu, you say Khusi or Khusep. Khusep, it means the Lord one. It is the Lord actually in Kwe. Khusep. In Kwekugwap, it's Khusep. We say Khusep. Now, when you say Khusep, that term, when you codify Khu, it becomes Khusep. That is why when you say Khusi, you say Khusi. At the end of the day, it becomes, when from an interpretation from another dialect, as we have in Jwana, say Khusi. That's why we say Khu, Khu or Khu. That is why in Jwana it's codified as Khusi, and then in Ngebe, on Ngebe way, on Ngebe Dome, they say Nkosi, because Ngebe people, they always like to put the N word in a word. That is why they don't say Kosi, they say Nkosi. Do you understand? Which is Kosi, meaning the Lord. And then when you say Kose, that you can codify it, where in a dialect such as your Tsonga dialect, they say Hosi instead of Kosi. Now, these terms are correct. Tsonga, Sotho, even your Ngebe is the same. Same. They're all derived from an indigenous word, Khuse, which is the click term. Now, when you say Nkosi Yamntu, Nkosi Yamuntu, Khusep di Kwen, or Khusep di Kwe, meaning the Lord of a person. This is what generally it is. These terms have been created by the British, because the British, when they identify in their corpus, and even in English corpus, a person who is a king is referred to as the Lord. Do you understand? That's where the term is derived. A person, a lord of a person, meaning a lord of people per se, because even the term Kwe, it also represents people in that sense. This is how generally it was. It was created into form of a missionary outlook. They say Nkosi Yam. There's no person who is known as Nkosi Yam. It's a term that is derived from a missionary corpus to do what? To give, to create their own genealogy in that sense. Karanga, let's come to Malangana. Malangana and Karanga is the same people. In Zimbabwe, Namibia, they over Malanga. They are always amongst the Ovambo. And then you have them in Botswana, the Karanga, and in Zimbabwe predominantly. Your Karanga people in South Africa, I mean, in those regions, they are mixed with indigenous people. Speaking about, I speak about people who are actually the indigenous people in the sense, and what they have inculcated in the Karanga language, culture, the dancing of the Karanga people. It resembles the Nama step, the Kora step as well in the past, where they dance and do all the stuff. The Karanga people, they inherited that from Kwe people. And I want to give a narrative about that as well. Karanga are the most of your Kwe tribes that intermarried with your indigenous people. And there was an ancestor who intermarried, who was a Karanga, who intermarried in your HieTshwaukhwen. Hence you find in the Eastern Cape, they say, Umalangana. Malangana didn't give birth to people who are known as Chawe, no, or Tzicha, or Tzicha, or Tzicha, or Yodwacha. They didn't give. Malangana, it was an ancestor who was a hunter, according to oral history received from Botswana oral sources. It was a man who intermarried, was a hunter and was a Karanga. He was wandering around until he met the Kwe people. And then Kwe people, they lived with him, right? I mean, he lived amongst Kwe because he was one in a population. And they were teaching him how to, because he was hunting. And then he became part of what? He became part of the progeny. So his descendants, he served, in a way, he served the Kwe, which is your HieTshwaukhwen. He served them and he became very loyal to them. And his progeny grew within the culture. Not in a way in which the missionary society in the Eastern Cape, which your London Lovedale Press is giving a narrative that these people were born from these tribes. No, these people were absorbed. The ancestor, one person, talking about a person in a population, or it could be 3 or 4 people in a population of people of 50%, that was absorbed and they had their progeny line within people. I'm just making an example critically. So they intermarried, and then in the process of intermarrying, his children grew in within the HieTshwaukhwen people, and his children were known as your Kwa Queen. Your Kwa, it means servant. Same Kwa in isiXhosa or in a Xhosa dialect, they are known as amaKwai. You understand? These are amaKwai people. They are known today, meaning servants. Kwai people are servants. They exist in Botswana even to this day as we're speaking. They exist, and they are a society that were servants. Now, they were designated from this Karanga ancestor, and today they are Kwe to this day. And oral sources being given by a chief Ngwegare. He schooled me many years prior to this as well, and the elderly society as well in this instance, and giving narrative about these people being servants. And being servants, they grew to become Kwe, and today they are part of your HieTshwaukhwen. They are not Karanga, they are Kwe people who originated from one ancestor who was Karanga. It's the same as in your Kora history, you find John Bloom, who is a white man, right? Who was a white man. His children in progeny line, they are Kwe today. And I live with them in here in Bloemfontein. I live with them. So his children, they were revered as Creole, light-skinned children. Some you find them dark-skinned because some of his descendants, they married even your Trebe or your Birikwa or Biringwa, meaning your Sutu people in per se. Now I'm giving an example of this with Kwakwe. The Kwakwe, they became a society that was comprised. That is why they are known as amaKwai. When you say Kwai, Kwa, it means servant, to serve. It's a serve, to serve. It means Kwai. That is why it is called Kwai. But when you say Kwa, Kwen, it means servant people, people who served, because they served the HieTshwaukhwen. That's the moral of the history, particularly. Second of all, in this regard as well, we have a society that is known to have being misconstrued in this instance, and that is why today, this society, today, it is a day to awaken their conscience to know who they really are in this instance. Now, a part of this as well, I'm going to illustrate in this instance is the term, the history that you receive in the Eastern Cape, trying to mislead people in many different directions. Chawe people are not Gqebe, they are Kwen. They are originally Kwen, they are not Gqebe. If they are Gqeben, if they were Gqeben before, they would have never had any heritage that is of your indigenous heritage. That has been obliterated by your generals, by also your people that are known to be your missionaries as well. Generals in particular, when I say they've destroyed information in the Eastern Cape and dispersed people, and they gave a narrative of their own. That is why today we have what we have. And let me give you for instance, a situation to sum it up for you in that past. They wouldn't be afraid to take somebody who was a Gqebe, a dark person, and they elect as a chief for a particular tribe that has nothing to do with the heritage of the person that they have elected as well. So they have orchestrated that. And that is why the bloodline that we have in many tribes, they have no connection to the history of that tribe as well. People who have been kept there as your watchmen so that they can serve colonial interests in whatever situation that evolved that particular situation as well. So, by instance, in my current example in this as well, as I've made, is that you are told of Utogu. They told you of Togu. They told you of Uskomo, and then they've told you of Malangan and all that. The Karanga people, they've intermarried with many tribes and nations. They are featured. Even their history, when you read into the Karanga history, they have us as Kwe. And none of them, I don't know, but there's one historian, I don't even remember the name. He once mentioned this as well. He was from the Karanga route. And my problem is, the same Karanga, they live with different names in reference as well. In Rohingya, they are known as your Birwa people, and amongst the Sutus we have Birwa. And people, when you mention Babirwa, they think they're Sutus. Babirwa are not Sutus; they are Akaranga in origin. Do you understand? And that's a Rohingya name. Say Birwa. You understand? To refer to Karanga people. My other instance is this as well that I want to illustrate, particularly, largely as well in this instance. When they even said Uskomo, Uskomo, they have gave, these are genetical bloodlines which they intermarried as well. Because when you read into the Mpondomise history of Sikomo, because Sikomo, with my belief, with my research, they are of your Mpondomise, not Xhosa. Palo is not of your Xhosa origin, it's from your Mpondomise history. These are ancestors originating primarily from Mpondomise, not from Xhosa. And the term Xhosa in reference, created a stigma, strange stigma, in terms of how this word was inculcated and also coerced upon a society who are known as Yomvengu. And today the term has been kept to describe people who are known as indigenous people. What I've acknowledged with the term Xhosa, particularly, it's a place name, but it's a Kwe place name that has nothing to do with people who are of uh, your Ngcebe background. When I say Ngcebe, I mean Abembo, particularly. They say Mambuki in particular. And these people, they exist in Namibia as Ovambo. And I want to rubbish this Nguni factor as well, because Nguni factor, it has nothing to do with Grebe in particular. It has something to do with indigenous society. As I've mentioned, your Tony, your Tony, your Tony, your Tony, your Tony as well. And today, when you codify this term, it becomes Kuni or Nguni, as they say. The Ngcebe couldn't pronounce the clicks in a formative way that it is today. Now, coming to the term, and I want to teach, and it gives me the privilege to teach, to inform society, and for society to acknowledge and to know this for sure. I want us to go back to the Chawe history. It says HieTshwaukhwen, and Chawe. When you read the Roman Tatars history, it gives a narrative that these people are what? These people are brothers. And when you read into the history, they are not brothers, because they have been what? They have been given a character. They have been characterized as people, and hence they were not people. Junha people, they are Khum people. Jwaha, it is a Junha. You're trying to describe a Junha in particular. And when you describe a Junha are Khum people. And the same people in particular, they cannot be classified. They cannot be classified as a person, because a Junha is not a person. A Junha, it is people particularly. Because when you say Ju or Jua, it means what? It means people. Junha, Juaha, that is why it's Juaha. Juaha means Junha farmers in particular. Do you understand? And that is why in most of your narratives that we have been fed by society, they've been fed by a dialect that never existed, that only existed in the late 1800s, which today they revere as isiXhosa. And I want to also rubbish this as well in a large chunk, to try to reconscientize people of the true heritage as well in this instance. And then we are going to talk. When I said Usikomo, it does not have connection. We could say intermarriage in tribes, because in one culture that most people don't observe to, is that in a queer culture, indigenous culture, when in a marriage or any union, right, or any group, any union, you find I would say, particularly would say, when there's a child, a son, and when there's a boy and a girl, a boy is named after the mother. If the mother's father is great, it's named after the mother's father's name. And then the girl is named after the father or the mother of the father. That's the name. That's how it was in the past. Girls were named after the father. So they inherited that. That is why names exist from one tribe to another. Because when the woman is married to another tribe, in that culture, if it's still carried out, it will be passed on to another culture with that legacy as well. So I'm giving a narrative to that as well, just to try to inculcate what happened in the past. That is why the name existed in what is formidably Xhosa. But I want us not to mix Chawe and Chawe and Tsaleka, and even people who are Khakhabe. They are not related. It's missionaries that created a federation, bloodline, to say these people are born. They created their own genealogy, because in our culture and concept, You must have a father and a mother to have a genealogy. European genealogies don't include women in our culture. And we include women in to indicate who was the woman's father and so forth and so forth. Reality is intermarried, and that is why I say it is impossible to create uh, 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 genealogies of a sort because missionaries have lied particularly. Now my focus is who are people who are your chawe to give birth for so generation from 1600s to towards now. These people that exist as indigenous, and I am going to come make a document. I'm also going to make lectures as well, where as to where Talega and where as your Hahabe, where do they exist. But now, primarily in this instance, my focus is to talk about who are Chawe and how big they are in this instance. And in as much as they're big in this instance, hence I've made an example in this in this regard. They are known to be very big. Under them, I mentioned Kwakwe. There's Kokwe, and then there's Ticha or HieTshwaukhwen. Your HieTshwaukhwen are those from the forest or from your It means a tree. It is from or by the forest. Do you understand? Those by the forest or by the tree or area designated for it by a tree or forest. That is how the definition of that term means in this instance. And then these people, as you read the history and as you read primarily where they are coming from the missionary sources you fed from your Eastern Cape, London Missionary Society, it indicates that these people that come from Nzikana. Nzikana was a holy man, was a Christian. He was a Christian, was baptized. All the lies that they were trying to feed people, and hence none of that information came because they are trying to do what? To program descendants after to say there was an ancestor called Tsikana. If you read into the background check of the term Tsikana, it goes to the fact of your Tsikhana. Tsikhana. Na it's a suffix. Tsikhana. Na it's a suffix. It means what? It means people. Tsikha, people. Do you understand? In Kwe corpus. Do you understand? In Kwe corpus. It means kwe. It means actually tsicha people or tsichana actually. It's tsichana because it's tsichakwen tsichana actually. That is how it's said, and it has been misspaced. When you say na, it means small one in Sutu or Yongebe dialect as well. Do you understand? Like umtwana, mwana. You see. Do you understand? Whereas in Kwe, when you say twana, you say ta. You say ta na, or tana, children, or das, a small girl child. Oh, do you understand? Or tab, a small boy child. Do you understand? That is how, in definition, we would try to inculcate this into, trying to give a narrative in this instance. Now, we mentioned these people. There was a prophet. They say it was Ugaba. Right? Many people confused Ugaba because it was associated with your Tiyoshe people or your Uakwin or your Uakwin or Uakwa people, right? And then it is said that, but in my narrative, they say Ugaba, as they say in Xhosa, but I can't dispute that. But hence I say the name, it has nothing to do with the man. There was no person who was known as Nzikana. It's Tsicha because it is a Ngebe way of saying Tsichana. Do you understand? To identify, because that person, when you say Tsichana, it means a tribe that has, a person that has been made a tribe. I mean, characterized as a person who is not a person, who is people actually. This is the content, what it meant in this instance. And I'm trying to give narrative to that as well. So people should acknowledge it in this sense as well. No. Coming to another point as well. These people, they exist in Botswana, in Nata, in all other places. In Francistown, they exist. In Botswana. In the Eastern Cape, they are known as Gqebe, whereas they are not Gqebe, they are what? They are Khwen, originally. And then we have your HieTshwaukhwen under this tribe. The HieTshwaukhwen, I have a brother and a friend as well that lives in Kasaba or Kasaba, what is today Kimberley, in the Platfontein region. He's a HieTshwaukhwen. He normally visited me at home in my parents' place. He would sleep there, would go to different places, go together, give awareness of Kwe, history, culture, and so on, going together. And he would drive all the way from there to here, right? And I cannot say his name, but he's a HieTshwaukhwen. He's a HieTshwaukhwen actually, and he is primarily from that tribe, meaning those people who left. Who it means to live in Kwe, in any language, Kwe language, who it means to live. Even in Kwe man, it means to live. People who left. Do you understand? And then you have your Danisana under the same tribe. The same Danisana are what? Danisana are found amongst the Mbondo. Danisa, they are found. And they have been characterized as people amongst the Mbondo, where hence they are not people. And then you have your MahuraKhwen. Your MahuraKhwen, I cannot give a definition, but the Sothos used to call Batubaka Sihura. It means they are people of Hura. So they call him Sihura in Sotho. That is why in the Mpondo exist as Sihula. You understand? Sihula amongst the Mpondos, they come from this tribe. They are Kwe. They are not Gqebe, as it is. The term Gqebe, it exists amongst the Mpondos as Abe. Abe is Gqebe. To describe these are dark people, by the way. And then from the same you have your Tetikwe. Tetikwe means dark people. It means that way, but I'm not exact with that definition. I need to consult with your Kwedam speakers, because I speak Kwemana and I need to know, because certain words in Kwemana and Kwedam, they are more or less next to each other, but certain words they are different. So it is said it is dark. So there's a place designated in Botswana as Boteti. You find Kwedam speakers of your HieTshwaukhwen who are from there as well. We have your Khorekhwen or Khope Kye, or your Khore or your Khore or Khorikhwen or your Khorekhwen, and so forth and so forth. And you have your Koredumkhwen or your Koredumkhwen. I have no knowledge about them, but Chumakhwen, there is them in South Africa. Amanchumane, they are there, they exist. I don't know whether it's from the Mpondomises, from the Tembus, but they do exist. Here are they originally. I want to teach people they exist and they are under HieTshwaukhwen. When you look into the structure of people who are known as your HieTshwaukhwen, you have your Ntakwenda, all those. These are your Gqebe tribe that intermarried, that married within the Kwe as well. Because the tribe is found in Central Africa as Batakwenda. But they are not Xhosas, they are Gqebe. They intermarried. And that's the issue of there are tribes and bloodlines coming from outside Africa that intermarry. So they cannot be held as what we have as bloodlines that originally were from here, not from Central Africa as well, or wherever in Africa where they are coming from. And then we have your HieTshwaukhwen. HieTshwaukhwen, they exist, or they exist in amongst the Mbondos as well. Then you have your HieTshwaukhwen. Your HieTshwaukhwen are known as your amaTshawe. It's codified. That term is codified. Even the history of Chiwo, it's been characterized and also being characterized as a person. Chiwo was never a person. It is a tribe. This is the history where this is originated from. And it is a tribe that is existing in Botswana as well. Your HieTshwaukhwen. These are your Kwe people. HieTshwaukhwen. I might not know the meaning behind that, but I'm still consulting from what is the meaning behind HieTshwaukhwen. That is why the term Chiwo, it's Chiwo. This is how it's codified. And he was not a man, this was a what? It is a queen. I read a documentary some years ago that said Chiwo was a leader of your people who are known as your Qoniquen or your Qunaquen, which is your real Nguni in that essence. And I had a document that says he was a Kwe Chiwo, and which I buy the concept, because anything that is happening from the Kalahari to Botswana, even in South Africa, is predominantly of your Kwe. Even going to what is today Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and Natal, particularly Lesotho, dominantly Eastern Cape, Free State, and going further to Northern Cape, Western Cape, and so forth. The country that we live in South Africa, it's not restricted to cultures, it's predominantly Kwe, all of it. It's just that cultures that have been being cultivated to be revered or referred to as your non-Kwe, because they don't know their true nature. I deal with research. People visit me on many constant occasions to give a narrative about cultures, about their nature, about who they are, dreams and stuff, and spirituality in that sense. And they link a lot of places which most people would never thought of, but it is the situation in this regard. And I end up telling them, if you don't want to explore, you need to explore. To know yourself, you cannot know yourself from one place. You need to travel the country to find links to your bloodline in that sense. And then you have your Borokwen. Your Borokwen are your Burekwen. Bure, it means Bure. Bure, it means Pula, ka Sesotho, or ka Setswana, or ka any dialect of any, it means Bore, it means Ula, means rain. I have a friend, he's a good dancer, he's a good Kwe dancer in Botswana. He comes from this tribe. He is very fluent. He is proud of his culture as well. These are your HieTshwaukhwen, by the way. We have your Chaiti or Chidi or Chidi Queen, whom are your queen, who I cannot even tell any difference, because I need to have a background to these people, to these tribes as well. And then we have your Xwaakhu, your Xwaakhu people, and the same Xwaakhu, I have any idea of them. I'm still, all these tribes that I couldn't give any information about, I need to go and do research about them as well. But most of them, all these tribes, all of them, they are under HieTshwaukhwen in particular. So, as I've narrated, actually, particularly when I have said, we have people who of your like I've mentioned when I mentioned the your Kwakwe, because we have your Kwakwe as well. We have your HieTshwaukhwen or HieTshwaukhwen. These were your tall people. These tall people, these are generation of your Karanga who married what? Married short people. You see? Do you understand? Who were called your Kwakwe. Kwakwe is Kwakwe. The same history that I've mentioned. The tall people, primarily, whom are known as your Karanga. These were your Karanga who were very expert hunters. And the same people in today, they married with people who hunt with people who were known as your HieTshwaukhwen or your Klum Shwaukhwen or HieTshwaukhwen, whom are your short people as well. Do you understand? And that's one of the historical narratives I would give as well in this instance. The meaning of this as well is that everything in this tribe is named after a tree. Most of the tribes you find. And then we have your people who are known as your Borokwen, right? Your Borokwen are known as your people who are your society that is it means a tree. It's a particular tree, by the way. And these people as well. Primarily, if I give a historical narrative about these people, they live in Botswana. I might never know them who are there in South Africa as yet, but I'll finally connect them with South Africa because I've connected with a lot of people in Botswana in queer culture and history in particular as well. So I'm going to end here today because there's more to tell about the history regarding who's who, who's not who in in South Africa. And we must give a narrative about our society and people in connection with that as well. There are a lot of queer tribes that are found in South Africa that have been revered as your non-queer, that we need to whitewash that. We need to remove that. To remove this whitewash, to restore, because our purpose is to restore. Because white narrative always have a juncture where they give a narrative that something is dead. The language is dying because they're doing things in purpose because they cannot find people who can speak their language or culture to try to combine, because people don't want, especially indigenous people, they don't want anything by the most associated with white people. But if it was something independent that was done by people of color, this would have never been any complicated or spell any complex situation in this regard. I will end here. Ditwa arena equidwe HieTshwaukhwen qara qauts nqa hesuas uka ngxaure ka ngxaure ho kganqamakai sitje xa ngqasi rukua kam